Now they are very careful. I don't think they still have subprime, but I think they have to access carefully, like not before 2008. Didn't want the same thing to happen again. Basic C3s and CTOS to actually provide the record of the purchaser, and then the banks in Malaysia are also very selective in terms of providing or approving the loans to the purchasers. So that's why in Malaysia we do not have the subprime problem. But if you look at in terms of higher purchase business, especially for vehicles, nowadays more and more companies, in order to create more business, they started to offer those who are being blacklisted by cities, for example, they are also able to get the loan from those companies who are offering them. And of course, these companies, not ordinary commercial banks, they are credit companies, credit corporation, and some private licensed institution which provide loans to those people, but the interest that they are giving, of course, is higher than ordinary commercial banks. But when hang on, I got a courier outside there. I need to call my kids for a while. Okay, sorry. Because hire purchase is not considered, because we do not create a mortgage basically for hire purchase. That's basically ordinary loan. So it won't actually affect our real estate finance system. It has nothing to do with real estate when we talk about hire purchase. So that's the situation. We do not have subprime here. Okay, Minyo?
Okay, doctor.
Okay. Any other question? We still have time.
Doctor, what is standard denomination? Because I still saw here mortgage loan are made for very amount and we don't have standard denomination.
No, there is no standard denomination, you mean?
Yeah, what is the meaning of standard denomination?
So denomination actually refers to the value of mortgages, which we do not actually have tranches. Tranches mean that we actually need to put them in. In other words, I can give you an example of tranches. Something like we have medium cost, high cost, low cost, but it's not applicable to that types of definition. But to give you an example, what does it mean by tranches is something like that in terms of the groups of real estate, but denomination refer to the value. So for medium cost, for example, between 100,000 to 350,000, so that is the denomination. So there is no standard denomination basically, because the banks will actually provide the loans, and then usually the bank will have their own criteria as well as own tranches of denomination. So there is no standard format to be followed by all financial institutions. Okay, Sijong?
So is it mean that any amount you can get any amount of loan depends on your asset, your mortgage
Yes, exactly. Depends on our age, depend on the security of our company where we are working, to earn a living. So they will look at it, and then That the three major things that the banks will normally look at it, and then our financial situation at the times of applying the loans. So financial situation, that means that the debt to value ratio. That's the purpose. So debt to value ratio is basically how much that we can cover for down payment, but the normal life in Malaysia is to come up with 10% for the first house, and then the second house we have to come up with 20%, and then the rest will depend on the negotiation between the purchaser and the financial institution. So that's the situation. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Doctor, I wanted to ask regarding the mortgage pass-through securities. Because it's mentioned that the investors receive mortgage payments and prepay rents the same as the lender. Which lender is this talking about? And like, what does it mean by they receive the same as the lender?
The lender means that because they are the one who actually purchase the mortgage products from the primary mortgage market, and then they securitize them. So basically, they sell the units, because you have to understand that some mortgage-backed securities are not the same as the ordinary stocks. Like in Malaysia, in the Bursa Malaysia, we have stocks and shares. So stock and share we usually fluctuate, depends on the market conditions. Sometimes we can make money within a short period of time. Sometimes we can also lose money within 5 seconds. But for mortgage-backed securities, although it is not guaranteed in terms of income that we receive, but it has a special market. It has a special market where institutional investor will actually purchase. So the lender and the investor will actually receive something like rent. It's not exactly the rent like we are renting a house where to pay on monthly basis, but the rent in terms of the dividend to be received, and then the amount to be paid in terms of the value of the securities that they are purchasing from the secondary mortgage market. Oh, Lavija, I remember you asked me that day about the term used.
Court order.
I couldn't find it, but I just remember when I look at your face now, I can automatically remember. I don't know. We call it deficiency judgment. Deficiency.
Sorry?
We call it deficiency judgment.
Deficiency judgment.
Yes. I don't know why suddenly I remember. I forgot to check. But suddenly when you ask me the question, I remember automatically. You have a special power.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Ikhwan, you asked me a question that day. So can you ask the question now? Let us share with the class. I prefer to discuss like this because it's a lot easier for us to understand, rather than to give you the answer on WhatsApp, because I need to type everything, sometimes very long, and it's a lot easier for us to misunderstand basically. So Ikwan, run away already?
Ya. Oh, hari tu saya tanya dekat doktor, dekat Malaysia ni memang kita ada cadangan ada ke yang handle mortgage ni? Sebab selalu doktor bagi contoh yang US punya, jadi agak sulit, tak boleh nak imagine.
Itu je.
Tu je lah.
Pinjam topi 3 hari. Boleh tak? 3 hari je, tak lama pun. Lepas saya pinjam topi Ikuan, saya nak pinjam topi Sijong pula. Juga 3 hari. Boleh? Kedekutnya masing-masing. Okay, so back to the question, Cagamas. So yes, Cagamas is the only special purpose vehicles that we have in the secondary mortgage market in Malaysia. However, if you look at Cagamas structure, under Cagamas itself as the parent company, there are, I think, about 10 sub companies under Cagamas, but all of them are Cagamas. So by right, we do not need to have such so many Cagamas, but I think this is because of some political issue or some, when we talk in terms of the business. So basically, they try to diversify the operations of the secondary mortgage market. That's why they have so many sub companies. But I would see this more like, they're having sections rather than sub companies. But in order to have all those sections, so basically they create sub companies within Cagamas itself. So basically they have the parent company, which is a corporation. That means public limited company, and then they have a sub companies, which is basically the sendirian berhad companies. So in other words, we can say that Cagamas is the only special purpose vehicle or the only entity that operate the secondary mortgage market in Malaysia. Okay, Ikhwan? Saya tanya dia tak jawab pun.
After I do some readings on internet, I stumble upon the words aggregators.
Apa dia?
Aggregators. Aggregators is like they do some securitization. Like how they do the securitization.
Aggregators?
Yeah, aggregators. It's like securitizers, mortgage aggregators.
Okay.
So, like how they do the apa ni, macam bundle the mortgage.
That one, I think I need a special session on this. So basically, if you look at the pro forma, we will have a special session on securitization next week. So I think we will learn about securitization next week rather than to talk now, because you cannot imagine, when I try to explain, I don't think you will be able to follow without a special lecture on this, because it needs longer time. Okay?
Okay.
So next week you can go to the bank. I will explain securitization. Okay, any other question? Sudah makan ke semua? Diam aja.
Dah makan.
Dah makan, Doktor.
Habis apa pasal diam? Any other question? I cannot see the rest, because the screen here is showing only a few of you. Those who talk, I can see. If you do not talk, I cannot see.
Doctor, you can adjust the layout of the screen if you want.
How to adjust that?
You click on the option at the below, just beside the
Option.
presenting. Just beside the presenting. Did you see?
The three dots.
The three dots.
The three dots, yes. I click already. Can you see the screen?
And then you have to click on the change layout.
Change layout. Okay.
And then you
Auto
choose.
This what?
Yeah. And you after you choose the change layout, and then you choose the number of the tiles to be seen at one of time. Maximum can go to 49.
The tile.
Tile. The second one.
Okay.
Yes.
This function before. How come Denomination everyone stop showing their face already?
Send Bangil punya, send Bangil punya.
Now I can see. Now I can see everyone. Okay, thank you, thank you. What happened to the rest who?
MK is going down to take the career.
MK is what?
He is going to take the career.
It's gone down. It's gone to outside the house, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, never mind. I need to see your face during the tutorial. During the class is okay because usually I present the lecture notes, and then even if you on the video, I still cannot see you. But during the tutorial, I need to see everyone's face. Okay, so any other question before we finish our lecture and then start with the tutorial?
Doctor, after today tutorial, can you upload this week lecture?
I don't want to.
Huh?
Don't want to.
Why?
It's up to me lah.
Jangan lah, Doctor, kita nak recall.
Of course, I will upload. But sometimes, after the lecture, I need to wait for at least 6 or 7 hours for the video to be sent to me. So that's not my problem. I have to wait for the Google to send me the videos, and only after that I can upload. But for yesterday one, of course, I have already. Then it's just a matter of time to upload the things. Because this morning I was quite full as well. So I'll try to do that as soon as possible. But if, just in case I take longer than the expected time to upload, that means I forget already. So you may have sent me WhatsApp, to remind me to upload. I'm okay. Just remind me, just in case. Okay. So any other question? One more before we go. We see the lecture. One more, please. Where is I'm trying to find when you are you the one people call Luna? I'm sorry, I have to ask you because I never talked to you before.
Yes,
Are you
Doctor.
Luna?
You can also, you can also call me Luna.
because during the department meeting, the lecturer always mentioned Luna, but now when I look at your name, Wen Yu, so I know that is you. So any question from you, Luna?
So far, okay.
Okay. So now we start to finish the lecture. After that, we do the tutorial. So I'll share the screen now. So okay, up to page. Okay, yesterday we finished here on page 17. So today, up to page 17, we basically discuss the secondary mortgage market, but now we try to concentrate on the capital market. So the capital market is basically refer to the marketplace where the transactions of securities occur. So the importance of the capital market is to generate funds for the purpose of having housing funds to be used in the domestic market. So you would rather go for the domestic market where when more funds are available, so basically the market will be more active. So basically it has increased its role in the real estate finance system because new capital will be generated through investors, especially institutional investors in the capital market, where the primary mortgage market basically will actually fund the mortgage credits or the mortgage loans through retail markets like we have discussed before, and now where the wholesale exists. So wholesales, that means like we have discussed before, I've given you example between Sogo and Mydin, and then I asked you what's the difference between retail. So retail should be against what, and then you say wholesale. So basically this is what's happening. So the wholesale market is being operated in the capital market because the more products, so the more securities we purchase, it will create low prices because we are purchasing in a box. So basically, as compared to ordinary stock and shares market, where we can actually purchase, even individual investors can actually purchase the shares in a small amount. But the thing is, when it comes to the mortgage-backed securities, we cannot buy, very small unit. We have to buy in a box, and then all the price actually considered as a wholesale price. So the wholesale institution exists to ease the flow of funds to the primary mortgage market. So we have also discussed in terms of the functions of the primary mortgage market, how it operates, how it actually changes the asset from liquid to illiquid. So the purpose is to get more fund through securitization in the secondary mortgage market, and then the fund that the secondary mortgage market obtain through the purchase of mortgage securities in the capital market will actually ease the burdens that the primary mortgage market is having, because you don't have to get a loan from other institutions. So basically from the existing mortgage loans they have created or they have originated can actually be used to make money on that. So basically it is the easing burdens of more funds in the primary mortgage market. So in terms of wholesale institutions, so basically a wholesale institution will actually issue general obligation bonds or mortgage-backed securities, as well as to use the proceeds to refinance the portfolio of the primary mortgage market. So we have discussed this, and then the fund raised by issuing securities instrument is the asset-backed or institution-backed securities. So how do we do this? How the capital market works? So it's more or less like secondary mortgage market, where we have household, insurance companies, banks and saving institutions, and then secondary mortgage liquidity facilities that are provided by the secondary mortgage market. So basically, when you look at between the household and the banks, institutions, insurance companies, so basically the same. We save our money to the bank. We also save our money to insurance companies. We have discussed the secondary mortgage market, and then the banks will actually provide loans to the household. So the loans, which is provided by financial institution to the household, come from the fund they have actually obtained from the secondary mortgage market. And then the secondary mortgage market will actually securitize the products, and then it will be sold to insurance companies, pension fund, and other institutional investors as well. So basically, all of this, keep rotating, and then that how the purchaser, that means the institutional investors, will actually purchase the securities that have been securitized by the secondary mortgage market. So that is the capital market. So in terms of the concept, the formation of mortgage instruments, so basically where we need the lenders who are willing to sell the products. So lenders basically refer to the originator of the mortgage loan, and then these will actually be influenced by the historical value of the market, as well as the lender itself, because the credit worthiness of the lenders is very important, especially when we talk in terms of the mortgage bonds, because mortgage bonds and mortgage-backed securities are basically both are called securities. The only difference is the functions of the function between them, and then legal framework as well that have been established by any particular country, and then the mortgage structure as well. So this formation is called securitization. So we will see in detail how do we securitize the mortgage products next week. So basically, it is a form of structured financing which is used to alleviate the portfolio risk by transferring it from a lender to investor who are willing to take risk. So we have discussed this before on the secondary mortgage market, where the primary mortgage market will actually originate the housing loans, and then under the bank-oriented system, like we have seen, basically all the financier need to look after the four mortgage functions. If you look at in terms of the bank-oriented system. So when we talk in terms of the primary mortgage market, the same things happen, but we focus more on the mortgage as compared to the bank-oriented system. It can be some personal loan as well, but basically under the bank-oriented system, they have to look at all. When we talk in terms of mortgage, they have to look at the four mortgage functions. But if they talk in terms of ordinary loan, for example, so they have to look at that particular functions, not the four mortgage function, but other particular function like hire purchase, for example. It has different function. But now we are trying to see the real estate, so we focus more on mortgages. So basically, when we talk in terms of the primary mortgage market, so basically the financier have to take care of the four mortgage function, but when come to the secondary mortgage market, having securitized all the loan, and then the investor who are willing to take the risk will actually purchase all the securities. So basically, securitization is the packaging of mortgage bundles together with the resale that are traded in the capital market. So this is the most prevalent form of securitization. Either asset-backed securities or institutional-backed securities. So these are the things basically I asked you before, and then you couldn't answer when I asked you between the equity versus debts. Remember that day I asked you? Can someone recall? I told you I would like to ask you. If you don't want to find the answer, then I don't want to give you the answer. Remember or not?
Yes.
So this is the answer I expected from you. Asset-backed securities versus institutional-backed securities. So equity versus debts. So institutional-backed securities refer on bond. Asset-backed securities refers to the mortgage-backed securities. So securitization will actually allow access to a broader range of investor capital, in turn increases the management of capital and decreases the cost of mortgages. So through bulks of mortgage products or the pools of mortgage products that are available, so basically it will increase the management of capital. And then through, when we talk in terms of economics of scale that you have learned from Zol, for example, the economic of scale under microeconomics. So basically, when we have a box of securities in the market, so basically we reduce the cost of mortgages as well. And then it also have functional separation, where as compared to the primary mortgage market, so they have to look after all the functions, the mortgage function, but now we have separation of fundings from the origination and servicing of mortgages, where secondary mortgage market will take care of it. So that's the concept that we have to understand about the capital market. So if we look at in terms of the benefit to the housing finance system, so it is basically a transfer of risk to third parties. So you can stop me if you want to ask anything. I'm okay with it. If you don't stop me, then I will continue to talk. So a transfer of risk to third parties will actually help capital to be used more efficient. And it will actually reduce the cost like we have discussed this now. And the securitization will actually provide greater liquidity, where the loan financier usually need to have less sufficient funds for the remaining time of loan. So basically, without securitization, the loan financier or the primary mortgage market need to get more loan from other institutions. When they get loan from other institutions, that means the mortgage loan that have to be given or have to be approved will actually become more expensive. But through securitization, so they have fund from the secondary mortgage market and the capital market. So therefore, the mortgage loan will be made more affordable. So securitization provide access to a broader range of capital, which actually help the lender to handle the capital effectively and will actually reduce the mortgage costs. So the state of securitization has had a profound impact on interest rate behavior and responsiveness to external condition, where changes in credit condition and monetary policy will actually provide competitiveness and potential for innovation. So basically, when we have secondary mortgage market, so it will actually influence the interest rate behavior. The more active people to actually get loan from the primary mortgage market, therefore the more influence that the situation will have on the interest rate. So basically, although it is governed by the central banks or the Bank Negara Malaysia in terms of controlling the basis points of the interest rate, it will actually fluctuate from time to time through the so-called KLIBOR, KLIBOR, Kuala Lumpur. In Malaysia, we have Kuala Lumpur Internight, Kuala Lumpur Inter KLIBOR, Kuala Lumpur overnight interest rate or something like that. So basically, when the central bank want to change the interest rate, as you see like now during COVID-19, they have to activate the market that is going to die. We cannot, although it's not going to die, but if we do not do anything, of course, it's going to die. So in order to activate the slow market situation right now, that's why they have to reduce, I think about 50 basis points, and then it will automatically reduce the interest rate. So if we used to get 4%, for example, for the mortgage loan, now we only have 2%, which is very, very low. And then it is a good opportunity to purchase a housing unit if we have money. But the only thing is we cannot go out because of COVID. So if we want to purchase, we can actually use online now, because most of the agents, they use online marketing nowadays. Correct or not, Willie? Willie, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Correct or not, what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got new types of marketing in the market.
Can you share with your classmate? I give you 1 minute to share. How do you do marketing during the COVID?
Oh, because now MCO, everyone stay at home, right? So still have people that want to buy in the markets. It's not like lesser, but I think it's almost the same volume lah. I've been pick up. So we provide the online viewing session through Zoom or Google Meeting, usually Zoom, and then we share slides also, like right now, and put some videos in it lah. So that's how we do online marketing right now. I mean, for customers to view through online.
Yeah, that's for the completed units. Are you selling the incomplete unit as well for new development?
Oh, we're selling the new project, new development, not completed one.
Not completed one. So that means they are viewings, not the real completed unit, just a model.
Yeah, correct. Only the showroom.
So that's we are also doing the same thing. The same when we try to market, our agency section. So basically, we are using the same style as well. Although the situation, I cannot say very bad. You also know that. So we also managed to close several deals as well. So that's why we cannot say the market is a dead market already, because there are still several transactions. So we hope that we hope that the market is going to be better. Otherwise, it will prolong like this, and then by the time you graduate, so there will be no job for you, for example. So, but basically, we have to be critical. We have to come up with some things that new. So we have to innovate. something that we should have during bad situation, because we never had this kind of situation before. Usually when the market went down, so we have with policy to have the market, and then it's going to be better again. But this time we are not sure how long will it takes, and nobody expected this thing to happen. So the same thing when we are giving you a lecture, all becomes mix up already, become ridiculous sometimes, because we did not prepare for it. Even also did not have a standard online lecture to be delivered to the students. So we have to come up with so many trial and error. And like in my case, basically, if you ask me to go to Zoom, I'm still okay to use Zoom. Google Classroom, I think the best one, because you can actually come up with wherever you want to refer to the online recorded lecture. You still can go without asking me to approve first. Do you agree or not? Google Classroom is better.
Yes.
Yes.
Because last time I did a try and error, and then you need to ask permission, you need a code, etc. And then I found that it's a lot better. You can go, you can check anytime you want to. And then the same things, last time when we try, when I start the lecture, usually I have to wait for the whole 40 student come in, and then request to enter the class. I have to wait here and click one by one to accept one by one. So just a waste of time. So now I'm doing it automatic acceptance of your request, so I don't have to wait here. I just on and leave the system for a couple of minutes, and then whenever you request, the system will automatically accept. So you are in already, and just wait until everyone is here. Not everyone, but at least 80% is here. Then I will start the class. So, if you have any other modes of teachings that you are happy with, you can share with me. Maybe I'll try other thing as well. Or if you're happy with this Google Classroom, then we will keep it. We'll use it until the end of the semester. Any idea? If you want to share, or if you're happy with Google Classroom, then we just proceed with it.
So far, this is okay.
So far, Google Classroom is okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you also have experience with other lecturers. Any other mode of teachings that you like? Can someone share?
It's almost similar to each other.
Microsoft Teams.
Use Team.
Yes.
Okay, but Team is very limited. They have only certain. They will let us use up to, I'm not sure for how long, but there is a limit. And then in terms of the number of participants, for the team it's okay, but for the Zoom, the number of participants is limited to, I think, 50 people only, something like that. But Google Classroom is, as long as we have students, so there is no limit. So which one do you prefer between Team, Google Classroom, and Zoom?
Google Meet, Google Classroom.
Google Classroom.
Google Meet will be better, I think.
Google Meet.
Because you don't have to do that, I also prefer this way. Whenever you want to enter, even in the midnight or early in the morning, you don't have to wake me up to request. Otherwise, you
one is to the right and one is to the left.
Yeah, I think that is kind of confusing.
Yeah. So which one is
Right number?
Number 8.
Now this one we are talking about the secondary mortgage market. Okay, we are not using the same slides to show the capital market. This is, we're talking more on the capital market, because I cannot show you how the capital market works basically, because we cannot show the capital market works on its own. We have to come up with the secondary mortgage market. So whenever we have the secondary mortgage market, we have to talk about the primary mortgage market. But I do not put the primary mortgage market here. So by right, the bank and saving institution, insurance companies and pension fund should go under the primary mortgage market. Household also should go under the primary mortgage market. And then we have secondary mortgage market. So based on that, we cannot show where the capital market, because the capital market will only deal with the transactions of securities. Okay. So treat
So which one should we draw if in the exam? One is to the right, one to the left.
Depends on question. If you talk in terms of the secondary mortgage market, use the other slide. If you talk in terms of the secondary mortgage market, you draw this one.
All right, understood, Doctor. Thank you.
If we talk in terms of capital market, then we use this one. But remember, when you talk about the concept, because the concept of capital market, it is basically use the wholesale market. But the concept, you cannot see what I have shown, for example, under the unbundled mortgage system, because the capital market do not have all these things. The capital market is outside this box where they actually deal with, maybe we can relate to investor, because investors usually come from the capital market, but we cannot show the mortgage delivery system, because we only have bundle in the primary mortgage market and unbundle in the secondary mortgage market. But in the capital market, there is no bundle or unbundle, because the capital market will only work after successful operations of the secondary mortgage market by securitizing all the mortgage product and sell them to investors who are available in the capital market. Okay?
So in the case of capital market, the investor is referred to us, right? Not like in secondary mortgage market, the investor is financial institution.
Not to us. We are not eligible to purchase mortgage-backed securities. Like I told you, we cannot buy 1,000 ringgit or 2,000 ringgit. If we want to buy, we have to go to mutual fund company, because it will involve millions and billions of ringgit. Institutional investor will actually purchase through the system called scriptless transaction, where they do not actually buy securities like we purchase, for example, anything from Shopee or Lazada. We know the product and we purchase, you send to us. But this one, we only purchase through scriptless. That means no product will be shown. That means we will purchase the number of units. So then the certificate of citizen will actually be made available to the investors to prove that how much in terms of value, the securities that they actually purchase. So you cannot say us, okay? If you talk in terms of the stock and shares, you can say us. But when you talk in terms of mortgage-backed securities, you cannot say us. You have to say institutional investors. That's the correct word. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
So now If no more question, then I will actually we can actually start with the
Doctor,
ah
to ask, because there is three sub-market, but I'm a little bit confused. Like the primary mortgage market mostly includes the bank, right, and the institution. Then the secondary is the investor. So who is in the capital market?
secondary is not the investor. Capital market.
So
Secondary,
who is
you have to talk.
Who is in the
Secondary,
secondary one?
the special purpose vehicle.
Special. So
Special.
they are still the bank?
No. What is the SPV?
It's all the entities.
Yes, the entities that operate the secondary mortgage market. So if you talk in terms of Malaysia, so what is it?
Jagamas.
Jagamas. If you talk in the US market, who are they?
All got three, right? Frederick. I don't remember their name.
The three.
The three, right?
So yes.
So that capital market only got investor.
Yes.
But that one is also the big one, like you say the pension fund or the big company.
Even the banks that operates the primary mortgage market will also or can also become the institutional investors in the capital market.
So as long as they provide capital to this housing system, they are in the capital market.
What do you mean they provide capital?
Like they still have some their own money because got people deposit in their bank. Is it like that? So as long as they provide the capital, they are in the capital market. They can also be in the primary market because primary is like they do all the servicing, the operating, but also they can at the same time provide the capital. So they are also in capital market.
No. I think you are confused.
Yes.
Capital and capital market, two different things. The capital you are talking about are actually the fund that have been created in the primary mortgage market through mortgage, mortgage. So that is meant by the capital. But the capital market is basically the market that operates securities transaction between the servicer and the institutional investors. So you cannot say as long as they provide capital, they are in the capital market, because this is the term capital market. That one is the term, the capital you use there is the term for the fund.
Oh, so because not all the banks they do the security things lah. So only certain bank will be in the capital market. Is it like that?
In Malaysia, majority of the commercial banks will sell the mortgage products. Majority, not all, but more than 90%.
Oh, okay.
When we talk in terms of the government loans, almost 99% government loan from government employees. 99% of the mortgage will actually be sold to the secondary mortgage market, because most or majority of the government loans will be considered good loans, because all the government employees will usually pay by deducting from their income, so they cannot run away until they retire. So that's why all the mortgage created by governments are good loan, actually good mortgage product to be sold or to be securitized. But for commercial banks, depends on 3 years after they come up with the trial and error basis to assess whether we are good paymaster or not. And only after 3 years, sometimes we have a little bit of the problem is they still consider up to 5 years. So as long as we show that we are capable of paying or repaying all the monthly loans up to 3 years without any problems, then it will considered as a good loan and it is ready to be combined with other available loans. That means pools of loans that they have allocated, and then with the pools of housing loans that are considered good loans will actually be sold to the capital market, to the secondary mortgage market. Okay, now we go to Sejong.
Okay, thank you.
So we go to our tutorial, and then you can always ask me after that or during the tutorial if you don't understand. So we'll see the tutorial question first. Okay, so we'll see the tutorial, the robustness. Can you see the tutorial question here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the robustness of the housing finance system will depend on the successful operations of the primary mortgage market. So discuss how far do you agree with this statement? So now I want to see everyone face here. Please switch on your video. Thank you. How to come up with a full screen again? Now it become half of the screen.
Stop presenting.
Oh, stop presenting. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. So, what happened to the rest? Only one of you is showing your face.
I think it's like
The
because
connection.
in my perception, everyone is showing the face.
Is it?
Yes.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes. We can take a
only me?
photo. We can take a photo for you, Doctor. Everyone is showing their face.
I'm not photogenic, so I don't want to take any photo. Huh? Mia also gone, sleeping already. Just now. You?
Yes. Doctor, you call me.
What do you have in the parcel just now? What did you get from the courier out there?
Shirt. Just some shirt. I bought for
what?
Shirt. T-shirt.
Oh, T-shirt.
Yes.
T-shirt without hand sleeve. The one that you are
no,
wearing now?
No. I mean the T-shirt that are ready for next year Chinese New Year.
Okay. Okay, so who want to answer? I cannot see your face. I'm a bit frustrated. I can only see 3 of you, 4 of you. 5 now. I want to take a photo once we have everyone's face here.
Fai, echo, Fai.
Yeah, got echo.
Fai, you punya mic, Fai.
What happened to Farid?
Dia buka mic tapi sampai itu echo lah. Mungkin dia dua device. Sudah boleh.
Apa sudah boleh?
Sudah tak ada echo. Tak ada suara echo.
Sudah tak ada echo. But everyone's gone. Tak ada echo, but everyone's gone. Only you.
Doctor God, I think maybe you open the WhatsApp group. I have take a photo of everyone. You can look at the WhatsApp. I have take a photo of everyone. Like at least half of us are opening the camera.
I think your line
You're
is
using the evidence that everyone is here?
Yes, everyone is here. Opening
I think
their camera. I don't know why you are not seeing us.
I think there's some network connection because some of us, some is open.
Okay, good. Now I can see everyone. So, okay, never mind. I think maybe the network is not so good. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, so we go back to our question, and then who is going to answer, to come up with my style of answering the question? What do I normally ask for before we start with the answer? Can someone answer?
Framework.
Huh? Brian?
Framework.
Huh? Yes. Answer framework. So because Brian answered the framework, so I want Brian to answer how to create a framework for this question. Come on, create. I'll give you 2 seconds only. 1, 2, finish.
For this
Brian.
question, yes, doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
My framework for this question, the first part is definition. And then the second part is concept of the primary mortgage market. And then the third part is a law of the primary mortgage market. And then finally, I will come to how the successful operations of primary mortgage market bring the robustness of the housing finance system. Is it okay? Housing finance.
Why your voice? Number 1 got echo. Number 2 on off. Tenggelam timbul. Okay, can you try again? Number 1 definition, the one I heard just now. Number 2.
Doctor, maybe I share the screen. I have listed down the frame.
Okay. So Brian?
Doctor, can you see my screen?
Just now, yes, but not now.
Doctor, can you see my screen now?
No.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. Doctor, the first part I wrote is the definition for this question. Definition of housing finance.
Okay, now I can
Hello,
see your
Doctor?
screen. Yes, yes.
The first part I wrote about the definition of housing finance. And then
Definition
the
of housing
definition
finance. Definition of housing finance or housing finance system?
housing finance system.
Okay.
And then the second part, I'm writing about the concept of the primary mortgage market.
Before you come up with the concept of primary mortgage market, you should come up with the simple operation or simple interaction between the three sub-market within the system. Briefly. Who's making noise?
Oh, that's my sister.
Your sister?
Yeah. Is it okay, Doctor? Or you want to call someone else?
You don't ask me, ask your colleagues because you are the lecturer now. I'm only asking you.
Can someone help me for this question? Maybe Sam.
Yes, Doctor.
You have
I'm
to
Sam.
shout, Sam. Okay, Sam.
Yeah. Basically, I'm share my screen first.
Okay.
Doctor, can you see my screen?
Yes. No. I can see. Yes.
I'm doing this tutorial question not following the framework, so I basically explain and list out all the concept of PMM and then about the things, not follow the framework.
No, we are discussing the framework now. I don't want to discuss some things that without a framework. Because you do not answer the question if you do not have. You can cut and paste everything, but you do not answer the question. You see
I'm
what
so
I mean?
sorry. I know.
You can type anything in the notes. You can cut and paste on the primary mortgage market, everything from slide 1 to slide 20, and make it as your answer. But when we refer to the question, you are not answering the question. So it doesn't mean that when you give everything that you get from the lecture notes, you are right. Look at the question first, and then you have to come up with the framework, and then from the framework, you have to answer based or by referring to the lecture notes, but not to cut and paste.
Because before answering this tutorial question, I need to understand all about the things, so I step by step to answer it, but not comprehensive doing that tutorial question. So sorry about that.
No sorry for you. Are you okay, Sam? I said no sorry for you.
Because it's okay.
Okay, never mind. just a joke, it's okay.
Sorry for you.
Don't take seriously, don't
completing the task.
I just don't want you to feel asleep. That's why sometimes I'm talking nonsense a bit to make sure that you follow this. Okay, can you shout at someone? Sam, can you shout at someone to help you? To shout to someone also takes time.
Lekuan, help.
Louder. Louder. Liguan is sleeping. Louder.
Hi, Doctor. Okay. In the case of, I will follow the Brian framework lah. So, like Doctor just now you say, start with definition of housing finance system, and then the next step will be discuss a simple operation about three sub-market. After that, then we only enter expanding the concept as well as the role of primary mortgage market. And the last part is about explain how far we agree on this statement.
No.
Yeah.
The concept should come in the discussion, because when you talk about a concept, you already focus on the primary mortgage market. But just now you're talking about definition. That means you have to come up with something in general about the definition of the real estate finance system. Or you can also include the definition of real estate finance plus real estate finance system, both also can. But the main priority should be given to the definition of real estate finance system. And then you have to discuss how you have to discuss the sub-market within the real estate finance system to show the simple operation or simple interaction between the three sub-markets. And then you discuss about the beauty of having the primary mortgage market. So the concept should go there during your discussion in order to show the positive as well as the negative things that we should have in the primary mortgage market. And then from there, you come to the conclusion in order to say that the primary mortgage market needs the primary mortgage market. The housing finance system will actually depend on the robustness of the primary mortgage market.
But then, Doctor, because this question is surrounding on the primary mortgage market, if we talk too much about the interaction between the three sub-market, will it be too deviate from the original answer? Because a simple interaction about the three sub-market will be, in my opinion, will be already relating to a lot of stuff. Because
why you say a lot of stuff? It depends on how do you interpret.
Doctor, can I ask, maybe we discuss more about the primary mortgage market than the SMM and the CMM? Is it okay? Because this question focuses on PMM.
Yes, that's what I said. Before you go to discuss in detail, that's why I asked you to put concept under the primary mortgage market, not during the interaction. Interaction just to show the relationship between them. You don't have to discuss in detail. That's why I said just now, I used the word simple. Okay, I used the word simple. Just to establish what the housing finance system or the real estate finance system is all about. Very simple one. Maybe you can draw a diagram to show the relationship in order to show the interaction between them. And then when you come to the primary mortgage market, that's why I said must be in detail. Because you talk about the concept just now before you talk about the primary mortgage market itself. So the concept must be established under the primary mortgage market. Then you get better marks that way. But if you do not follow this style, you just cut and paste, discuss without discussing what is the primary mortgage market about, without referring to what the question asks you, you won't get much mark. You see what I mean? Okay, that is the frameworks. But now I need someone to answer, or if you have done the question, you can share, and then I'll give comment. Okay, Brian, can you ask someone, shout at someone here, anyone here to help you?
Susan.
Louder.
Susan, can you help me, Susan?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
But my answer is not according to the framework we discussed just now.
It's okay. But you have to start with definition first.
So I share my screen.
You can share if you have definition there, because I need everyone to cooperate when come to that particular framework of answer. So someone have to enter to show your answer. If your answer is wrong, it's okay, but please follow the framework just now.
The red color one is the framework I like of. So I have made a remark here. So the first thing I have explained about the housing financial system, the definition. This one.
Susan, can you zoom in?
Okay, all right. Like this kind of. Can see clearly. Okay. So first of all, I explain about the housing financial system. And then next one, we should discuss about the three-star markets, but I don't write in my answer. This is what I like. And then next, I discuss about the primary mortgage market definition.
No, I'm not asking you about the framework, because we have already discussed the framework.
So
okay,
I just
want you to discuss step by step. So the first step is what?
The first step.
Susan.
The first step, we have to list out the framework.
No, framework already discussed. What is the first step in the framework? We have established this now.
Definition of housing financial system.
Yes, start with that. You have to discuss with this class. How do you define? That's what I mean.
So, all right.
One here.
So first,
not housing financial system. Housing finance system.
All right. Housing finance system.
Housing finance. Housing financial system. The financial market is correct.
And financial.
But not the housing financial system.
So the main two component of housing finance system is financial market and financial.
No, definition, please.
This one is the definition. Financial market is a place where buying and selling of financial instruments occur.
That's the financial market. What's the under we discussed the concept just now, the framework just now, Brian. We have discussed now. Brian said that we have to come up with the definition of what?
Primary mortgage market.
Before that,
housing finance system and the three-star market. So the definition start from here. Because the definition include two main components. So first one, I write about the financial market, and then second one, I write about financial institution. This is the definition, the first definition. Is this what Doctor want?
What is lacking here?
The 3 sub-market. I don't write about that.
No, I don't ask you the 3 sub-market yet. Three sub-market is not the definition. The one you have to show the interaction. Simple interaction. Or simple behavior.
Is it?
But
We should start with
under the definition. Huh?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Is it we should start with a housing or real estate finance system? In Malaysia, like the definition, it consists of primary, secondary, and capital markets. And then this is the definition for the first part. And then
No, that
next
one,
one.
that one, if you refer to the mortgage-backed security system.
Okay.
Not the real estate finance system or the housing finance system. Remember that day we have already discussed how to define the real estate finance system. Remember or not? On the previous tutorial.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes.
The definition for housing finance system, what I write is, it is a financial delivery system that provides funds to the purchaser of the real property in terms of mortgage.
Yes. That's the thing I needed from you. Once you have that, and then you go to the mortgage-backed security system. The reason why we are going to talk about the primary mortgage market. So now you have to come up with 2 pictures here. The first one, you must know what is the housing finance system all about. And then in order to establish the robustness of that housing finance system, then the question say that the primary mortgage market should be in good operation, for example. So the umbrella is basically the whole housing finance system, but the primary mortgage market is basically part of the what we call it when you hold when you open the umbrella, you hold that stick, you know. What do you call the umbrella stick? Is it umbrella stick? Okay, whatever you want to call. So the stick that we are using should comprise the 3 sub stick in order to hold the umbrella. Okay. So the top one would be the primary mortgage market. If you cut into 3 pieces of the umbrella stick, the top one should be the primary mortgage market. The second one, you should talk about the secondary mortgage market. The third one should talk about the capital market. So without the support of the second part of the umbrella stick, that means the capital market and the secondary market, the primary mortgage market cannot operate. So when you hold the umbrella, the 3 sub-market will stick together, and then the primary mortgage market will hold the whole umbrella, what we call it, umbrella, the cover there, and then it will become robust. Am I giving you a good example or nonsense one? Is it a nonsense example?
No.
Because sometimes when I give you a real estate example, you cannot imagine. So I give something that that is easier to understand. But of course, when I give something easier to understand, you have to think, you have to relate it with real estate. But that's something like that. The umbrella, the whole umbrella is the housing finance system. So in order to create the robustness of the housing finance system, you have the umbrella stick. So the umbrella stick must be strong. Even the wind come from left to right, the umbrella is still there as long as the stick is strong to hold the top part of the umbrella. So when talk about the stick, the first part is the primary mortgage market, and then under the primary mortgage market is secondary mortgage market, and under the secondary mortgage market is capital market. But this, if you apply to the real asset finance system, you cannot put primary mortgage market number 1, secondary mortgage market number 2, capital market number 3. It won't work that way. But because I'm giving you umbrella as an example to show the stick must be strong, that's why I'm giving you that way. But in application, you cannot put them primary mortgage market at the top, because you have to split into 3. You know, you cannot put as one stick, but you can make a triangle, something like that. Primary mortgage market at the top triangle, and the secondary mortgage market on the left, and the capital markets on the right. So you show the instruction. So all these things will create strong or the robustness of the whole housing finance system. Okay. So once you show that, and then you come out, make your focus on the primary mortgage market. When you come to the primary mortgage market, then you have to talk in detail. So now we are still at the definition. Susan is giving the definition, and then Lee Guan, was it just now? Who, Lee Guan or, sorry, Min Yao or Lee Guan, who gave the definition just now? Min Yao, is it? Min Yao. So that is the definition. That is the definition of the real asset finance system or the housing finance system. And now we want.
Just now, when you say, I hear the word mortgage in the definition. So is that a keyword we need to include? Because the housing financial system, I think there's many systems, not only mortgage one. So is that the important thing is just to raise funds from to lend money to the borrowers in the housing market?
What do you mean by other thing you mentioned just now?
No, just now you mentioned true mortgage, like
yes.
There, but is that the keyword we need to include in this definition? Because there are many other systems which some of them didn't use the mortgage, the stat system, the bank-oriented system. So I think the more important part is just to raise fund from the saver to borrower in the housing market. Is it correct?
It's different.
You can do that way. That's why you have to say, you cannot say the housing finance system consists of the 3 sub-markets: primary mortgage market, secondary mortgage market, and capital market. If you say like that, you are wrong. That is not the definition of the housing finance system. But if you say that the mortgage-backed security system consists of the primary mortgage market, secondary mortgage market, and capital market, that is right. But you have to show that that's the thing that you are going to discuss. Okay. So whatever it is, for gender definition of the housing finance system, the word mortgage must be there, because we are dealing with the mortgage.
Okay.
Whether bank-oriented system, mortgage-backed security system, mortgage bond system, or the state system, all of them are dealing with mortgages. So the word mortgage must be there. You cannot say borrower, personal, loan, or whatever you want to borrow, or hire purchase, etc. That is something that you have to talk when you talk about the financial system, but not the real estate finance system. And then, as I told you before, the reason why we use the housing finance system equal to the real estate finance system, because if you talk in terms of the commercial property, industrial property, or other type of property, nobody or none of the country in the world will put priority for that particular sector. So basically, the application is all depends on those who want to purchase, who have money to purchase, the investor who want to purchase. If you don't purchase, you won't die. As compared to housing unit. So housing units, all the country are basically trying to have their citizens, and then they will expect, or the priority will be given to the citizen to have at least one decent unit per or for each family, regardless whether you are newly married couple or you are a couple with 5 kids or 10 kids. So basically, the intention is to make sure that each family to have at least one decent unit. So if you get married and then you want to stay with your parents, this is what Chinese community normally do. Correct or not? You get married, then you stay with your family, you have your own room with your wife and your kid. That is the culture. That kind of culture is acceptable. But in terms of definition by the government requirement in any country, by right, once you get married, you must have one unit of the house. Whether you want to stay or not, that's a different thing. So if you have one house, but you don't want to stay, you still prefer to stay with your parents, it's fine. But at least you have a unit. So that's the target of any government in the world. But if you have more money, and you want to purchase more than one for the purpose of investment, that one is not considered as the mortgage that you actually created under the first time house buyer.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good. So once you come with the umbrella just now, and then you come to the primary mortgage market, so you need to start with what the primary mortgage market all about, and then you come up with the concept. So the concept of the primary mortgage market is basically the bundle system. So under the bundle system, you have to come up with the 4 mortgage functions, and then try to establish how the primary mortgage market, in terms of the positive point, to have create the robustness of the housing finance system. So you have to give more positive point here in order to get marks, and you can also give a little negative point here in terms of the disadvantage of having the primary mortgage market. But give more, of course, more on the primary mortgage market. Even if you think logically, you should have more positive point on the primary mortgage market. And then you come to the conclusion. Based on that, this is why it shows the importance of the primary mortgage market to create the robustness of the whole real estate finance system, or the whole housing finance system. So it is intangible. If you talk about real estate finance system, so basically, if you talk in terms of commercial, in terms of industrial, there is no specific system, because only those who have money can buy commercial unit. Only those who have money can buy the commercial unit. You can buy retail, retail unit, and then you can rent it out to the market. You can buy office if you want to. So in any country, there is no specific real estate finance system. Industrial property, only those who are manufacturing something, have a company, they usually purchase industrial units. But ordinary people do not purchase, only those who have money. So comparing to any other country in the world, there is no real estate finance system that you can call commercial finance system, industrial finance system. There is no system. But housing, yes. Every country in the world try to help their citizens. So therefore, every country will have different financial system. So like I said, there are 4 real estate finance system. So we have mortgage bank-oriented system. We have mortgage-backed security system, and then we also have the mortgage bond, and then the state system. So that's why when you talk about real estate finance system, you should imagine that real estate finance system is equivalent to housing finance system, the same thing, because there is no other sector that have a commercial finance system or industrial finance system. So it is interchangeable. Housing finance system is real estate finance system. Real estate finance system is housing finance system. You see what I mean? Okay, so that's all the answer. Anything else you want to ask? Because when I look at the clock now, you have another class after this, so we only have a couple of minutes left. So I don't want to ask you to answer one by one. That's why I try to explain everything, and you must understand my explanation. But before we go, is there any question?
So, Tutor, what's the negatives of an alternative
Negative of what?
Primary mortgage market and the alternatives to PMM? Is there any?
The negative. Of course, there is a negative things. The primary mortgage market, when we talk in terms of the concept itself, it has to look after the 4 mortgage functions. So the 4 mortgage function, that means in terms of risk mitigation, is not there. If anything happened to one of the functions, and then the whole thing will collapse, and it has to be borne. It has to be borne by the financial institution itself. For example, public bank come up with very huge loan, because sometimes we have, you have to think about very big project, for example, especially for the bridging finance. So usually, the banks will come out like Putrajaya development, for example, when they develop Putrajaya. So there is not only one bank that come up with the fund, but so syndication or syndicate, not syndicate ketum, or syndicate ganja. But syndicate here is the syndicate that refer to the combinations of several financial institutions and led by one particular bank, which is usually the investment bank. So investment bank is usually the leader. So basically, when it comes to very big projects, for example, they have to look at all the functions. So if one function collapse, then the whole system will actually collapse. The primary mortgage market will collapse. That's one of the advantages. And then you can think so, because you don't have time. I know that you need to go to have have another class. There are also several things. That's why I need basically, if you have time, I want you to give me the point, not I give you the point. So since Willie asked me, that question, I'll give you one main points as an example. Okay, you have class right after this? Oh, you want to ponting?
Yeah. Yes,
You cannot go out for movie now because PKP. No cinema is open. But if you want to go to the bank also closed now, 4 o'clock. By the time you reach the bank, it's already closed. So, the best thing is...
I want to ask if because the question asked discuss how far you agree with this statement.
Yes.
Can I agree partially or disagree? Because just now you all say agree, then say good thing about primary. So can I just agree partially? Then I say good thing about secondary mortgage market. Like I compare why compare the secondary with the primary.
What do you need to compare?
Like I say, okay, because primary mortgage market doesn't have enough money, so they need to sell the loan to secondary mortgage market. So the also depends.
That one you already discussed briefly. You already discussed briefly when you come to the second stage of the framework just now. But now, how far do you agree? You cannot. That's why I said you have to give positive and negative. If you say all positive, how far do you agree? 100%. It cannot be. That's why I said you must have positive and negative before you conclude. Your conclusion will tell us how far do you agree. So, in this thing, obviously, primary mortgage market is very important. Without primary mortgage market, you do not have secondary mortgage market, and you also cannot trade all the product in the capital market. So, primary mortgage market must exist first. Without primary mortgage market, and you don't have secondary mortgage market. Clear or not?
Yes.
So you must put the positive things about the primary mortgage market. So a part of the positive thing, you must also have the negative things. The reason why I asked you to give the negative thing to justify how far do you agree, and then come to the conclusion. That is your conclusion, to show that, because you have discussed the positive and negative, to show that the primary mortgage market is very important and it must be, it must operate efficiently, or whatever you want to say, in order to show or to support the robustness of the umbrella just now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So now it's 4 o'clock. If you have any more question, maybe you can ask me next week. I'll give you, as usual, a couple of minutes before we start with the class. And then you must understand all these things, because I'm going to ask you in the test later on. I'm not sure what question I'm going to ask you. That's why I like to see how far are you following the class. So based on that, I know that I want just to see that how far do you understand. So the tutorial question is just for the sake of our discussion. If I don't give you any tutorial question, then there is no specific discussion, and you also don't know the way that I always ask you. So just as a reference, I'm not going to repeat the same question for the test or for the final exam. You must understand that anything can come out, but in terms of the knowledge, the understanding should come from what we have discussed. So if you understand whatever we have discussed, no matter how difficult or how easy the question is, you should be able to answer. That's why I always ask you to do first. before you come to the tutorial. I don't want you to treat this as a class. And I always ask you to find your friend to answer to help you, because you have to treat yourself as a lecturer here. I'm your student. I'm listening to what you are going to explain. But if something goes wrong, then I will correct it. So at that time, you know what's wrong or the stage of your knowledge at that time. Okay, everyone. Shall we dismiss now? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.